should pop it over here. Oh, hold on, guys. That go in. There I am. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start with any questions. So do you guys have any questions about anything?
Well, on the homework, like for the check your understanding on page 135.
135. Hold on, let me get there, Lori. Hold on. Okay.
I knew how to do A and B, but how do you figure out C?
Oh, for numbers. Okay. Yeah, no, that's a good question. So
I don't think we went over that.
Yeah, no, we went over how to find a z-score. That was the stuff with like the heights at the beginning. So I'll show you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wrote everything down, but I couldn't figure out how to do the opposite.
No, so number, or you're talking about like number one, we've got a mean of 10, population mean of 10, standard deviation of 4, right?
Right.
And then we've got a z-score. Wait, what has a z-score of? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. It's backwards, isn't it?
Yeah. C is, we didn't go over that part.
Yeah, that's no big deal. What has a z-score of 1.5, right?
Yeah.
So this is part C. Okay, so let's look at the equation. It's z equals x minus mu over standard deviation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to do some basic algebra, Lori. We're going to plug in what we know. Now we know the z-score is 1.5. X, we don't know, right?
Right.
No, mu is 10, and we know the standard deviation is 4. So now we're just going to solve for x here. So if I want to solve for x, I've got to multiply the 4 on both sides to get rid of it in the denominator. 4 times 1.5 would be 6 equals x minus 10, and then add the 10 on both sides. So you wind up with 16.
Okay.
I know I zoomed through that, but really, Lori, all you have to do is if you've got this equation, just plug in what you know. We know this is actually the z, right? And for this question, the x is the unknown value, okay?
Right.
So when you plug it back in, like let's do number 2. Number 2, the mu is 30 and the standard deviation 6, and they give us the z-score of 0.5, right?
Right.
So if we plug that into this equation, it's going to be 0.5 equals x minus 30 over 6, right?
Right.
And then you just solve it out.
Okay. 6 times 6.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
It helps a lot because I got stuck on that. It's like,
Yeah, I would too. So 6 times 5 is 0.5 is 3. I'm just going to see what this one is. Add 30. So you wind up with 33 equals x. Okay, 33 equals x.
0.5.
Okay.
So 3
questions.
Minus 30.
Well, any other question? Was there another question about the homework, Lori?
No, I didn't get quite that far on some of it.
Okay.
I gotta catch up on some of the homework. Are you available like over like the next couple of days if I have any questions by email?
Yeah, no, I mean, check out my office hour. Is it Nathan?
Yeah, it's Nathan.
Yeah. Just check out my office hour. And so I would get caught up on the homework, and then you can always email me during office hour if you got a question.
I wanted to make sure it's all done before I take the test, but I know I have till Sunday, right?
Yeah, you've got till Sunday. Now, I'll tell you, Nathan, over the weekend, do not get a hold of me.
No, I'm not gonna. I wouldn't try to email. That's why I said the next couple of days. Today and tomorrow.
Yeah, I know you did. No. You can try to email me over the weekend, but I'm not. I mean, it's my weekend.
Yeah, enjoy your weekend.
I tried, but no, yeah, I would do that. I don't believe I would have any issues over the next few days. And I mean, if it's a quick question, just shoot me an email and ask me. If it's maybe something deeper, I don't mind. Like for my office hour, we can set up a Zoom thing. That's not a big deal.
Oh, definitely. That'd be awesome. But I mean, I think I got a pretty good grasp on this stuff.
Good.
All right.
Yeah, and once you get the homework, it'll make more sense, right? I mean, that's the part. That's the big thing.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem, man.
And you're opening the test today, right?
Yes, I can tell you actually when. Well, actually, I haven't. I thought I set up the test. I'm telling you. Hold on. Let me switch screens. And that's the one thing. Like the Blackboard tests are new to me, right? If you guys have me before, you know I haven't given a Blackboard test. But if you have an issue, just communicate it with me. Okay, that's the only way I can help you. So yeah, I'll have that open probably right after we get done with the lecture here today. If you don't see it by like 11, email me. Okay, but I mean, unless you're just really ready to go, I wouldn't attempt it until I'm just ready in a good zone.
And I will be in the zone for a day or two.
Well, okay, and the main thing for this test, just kind of structurally, once you start it, you can't stop. So once you click start, you've got 75 minutes to take it. It's all multiple choice, which is nice. Oh, I lied. I'm sorry. It's not all multiple choice. That was I'm sorry. The majority of it's multiple choice. There are some short answer questions that I think are important from these last 3 chapters. Because, you know, if you go over these, there's some things that I want you to explain, right? Like some of them are give an example, right? So all your examples should be a little different, but, you know, give an example of this kind of biasness, or give an example, you know, describe the difference between these two things that are just hard to test if it was multiple choice. So it's multiple choice and fill in the blank, or not fill in the blank, but short answer. And I'll have to go through and just, you know, read all your answers. That's not a big deal. So it won't be automatically graded, right, because of that. My goal would be to get, like for any test, give me a week, right, to get it graded. So once you turn it in, just give me a week to be able to go through and grade everything.
How many questions?
I can tell you right now. There are 23 questions, but I'm going to tell you a lot of those are going to be really fast to answer, because you know how we went over that TI 80, or how to put like the list into TI, the TI calculator. Well, I use the same data set and I ask you a lot of different questions based on one data set. So you're going to have to know how to put a list into the TI. I mean, I guess you could do it by hand. It's going to take you a lot longer than 15 minutes, but you're going to have to know how to put that list into the TI calculator, do the one variable statistic. Everything from that screen will give you like, there's probably about 6 or 7 questions where you just have to pull it from that one screen, Lori.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not, and part of that is just me, like, we're going to use that TI calculator moving forward. So you've got to be comfortable using it. You know, we don't do Excel, we don't do SPSS or any of that stuff, because it winds up being a class on how to teach Excel. And I have not enjoyed that in the past when I've done it.
I didn't like it either.
I don't mind Excel, but it's like, if you want to do the fun stuff in Excel, you have to download a different pack, and it's like Excel doesn't come with the stuff we're going to be doing, which is crazy because it's statistical software.
Right. Is the test gonna be like all on one page, or do we have to click to the next?
I think so. I haven't made that part yet, Lori.
Okay, yeah, because I know when I had my history class, that he had 1 page per question.
Oh, I see. So it's easier for you guys if it's all kind of right there at once.
All on one, where you can just answer it in a row.
Yeah, no, I can do that. I can make that the option. Yeah, that's not a big deal.
Yeah, because when he did that, it was a timed test.
Oh.
And it took more seconds to go from like question 1 to question 2.
I see what you're saying. Oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because he said he didn't know how to. He said that's the only way that he could do it. He didn't know how to do it any other way.
Well, I will check to make sure I can do that. So I can't promise you that, Lori, but I think that's an option with these. So
I don't see why not, because my biology class I had to take, my physics class I had to take, or I don't know,
physical science.
Yeah, physical science. It was all on 1 page. I didn't have to click that one question, click next, one question, click next.
Well, I'd want it all on 1 page because it just feels like it's less chance of something crazy happening where.
Exactly.
Yeah, tech issues. So no, yeah, if it's one page, I've been given, so I'm teaching a 7-week class. They're like already on their 4th test. And I think theirs is all on one page already. I think that's an option. I'll make sure to click it though, Lori. Let me write that down.
That's so much easier.
Hey, Mr. Shirley.
Test request. What's up, bud?
This is a weird question. Do you know Instructor Bendler?
Yeah, I know Mr. Miller.
So is he like, I'm on his independent study because I'm in California. I don't know if he knows I'm in California, but like I came out to California because all my classes are on Zoom, and I got added to his Zoom independent study. But the way he wrote this recent email, I'm thinking I got to come in, and I don't like. He's like, make an appointment with the testing center in Roller Hall. It sounds like I got to go into Roller Hall.
Okay, yeah, you're gonna have to get a hold of Mr. Bendler with that because I have him for calculus.
Me too.
And
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, are you on in what time is your calculus?
Today it's 10:30 for me, but it's 12:30 for you guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh well, I have them at 2 o'clock. So.
Oh, actually, no. I think you're right. I've been watching the lectures afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
He put me in his independent study because I said I will not be able to come in this semester. But now I'm thinking
just
the test.
Email him.
I just did.
Nathan,
Yeah.
I would, because I know in the past I've taught like intermediate algebra online, and I've had students like in Alaska and Montana and stuff. And what I've done is you can find a proctoring center near you. And that's what I've had to do in the past.
I'm more than willing to go somewhere to take the test. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I even told him I could download a lockdown browser and he could put it where he could put it on there. I'm studying for it. I don't plan on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
No, just get with him, and he'll be pretty lenient. Or not lenient, but he'll understandable.
He'll work with you.
He'll work with you.
Okay. I'll email him right now and say I could go to a center here if that works.
That's kind of, I'll tell you, it's always easier to give the solution.
Right.
Well,
sorry for bothering you with that. It's a concern.
Oh, it's okay, man. I don't mind helping you with that because I know you're not the only one that's not coming to campus, right? So it's, if you guys have campus questions, please feel free to ask in here while you've got me.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So you must be in my calculus class.
I think so, and I'm gonna start coming to class on time. I've just been in a little situation here, but I'll be zooming in here pretty soon.
Yeah, no, because my class is at 2 o'clock here.
It might be. I think it actually is at 2 o'clock. I might have had that wrong. It's probably 12. I was thinking it wrong. It's 12 for me, 2 for you, not 10 for me, 12 for you. Yeah, I'm in that one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and if anything, I'll let him know because I'll be in the classroom today.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, and he's good at checking his email. Like if you email him, he'll check it.
All right, thank you.
Now, okay. Any other questions about? And before I just go into kind of a full-blown, review, are there any questions about the test though? So once you get started, you have to finish 75 minutes. I'll try to put it all on one page, Lori. I've got that written down.
Will it kick you out as soon as the time runs out?
Yes, it's going to kick you out and submit it right when the time runs out. And it closes, it closes at midnight our time, Nathan. So if you wait till the last minute, that would be.
On my time, I think I was going to take it Saturday.
What'd you say?
I was going to probably take it Saturday just to make sure I don't. And I know it would be 9:59 for me.
9:59 exactly
on Sunday. I've gotten used to it being all my stuff due at 9:59.
Yeah, I got you. So we're looking at that 2-hour time difference. So so other than that, there's not a lot. I made it in a way that I know you're going to be using your notes. I understand that, but realize you do only have an hour and 15 minutes. So if you're trying to learn it before you go in and like try to learn it while you're taking the test, it's not going to work out well.
Oh no, that's
yeah. And I'm not telling that just to you, Nathan. That's to anybody else taking it that's watching later on.
Oh yeah, my bad.
No, it's no big deal. I know it looked like I was telling you that. Okay, so are there any questions about the test? Okay, and again, it's going to pop up, and I know you guys can't see. Let me share my screen real fast. Hold on. Hold on. So, share screen. I got to choose which one. This one. Share. Okay, so like you're looking at my screen here. Right here, there's going to be this test button. And when you click on it, You don't have that button yet, but once I put a test in there, you will. It'll be right there. It'll just say like test 1 business stat. Okay. So just to let you know where it's going to be housed, it'll be right there under test. Hopefully that makes sense.
Okay.
Not a big deal. Okay. Any other questions before?
After the test is over and you're graded everything, are you going to have like a key so we know what we missed?
Yeah, so the multiple choice, you should be able to see what the right answer is.
Mm-hmm.
But the short answer, I'm going to like make a comment in there to tell you what the right answer is. If you kind of went off, or if you're kind of like, I'll do partial credit for the short answers, so if you get a little bit of it, I'll tell you why you didn't get the rest of it, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll try to give you as much feedback as I can on Blackboard. And I'm hoping you can see it. And I'm kind of needing your feedback, right? Like, so after you get it, can you see what I wrote down? That kind of stuff. Because, yeah.
Yeah, because I have a habit of printing off my tests, so it will help me study more for a final.
Oh yeah, totally. And I expect that. So my goal is that you would have this to study for the final, because the final will be cumulative. And I'm just going to kind of take questions from all these tests,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Because I have so many papers from all my classes.
I got you. Any question? I don't think today's going to take long. I'm just going to I'm going to go through the test, the part that I've already made, and I'm going to tell you what to focus on. Now, I'm not going to be specific, of course.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you what to kind of focus on, because I'll tell you, some stuff's hard to, I can't really ask you to make a histogram, right? Through Blackboard. Right. That's not going to happen. And let me see. So that's why I'm going to kind of tell you what to focus on, what not to focus on. Okay. So first things first, you've really got to understand these definitions that are at the beginning of really all of chapter 1. I mean, I would know the highlighted definitions when it comes to, I'm going to open the book up too. When it comes to, sample, population.
The ones that are highlighted in blue?
I think, are they in blue, or are they in even like the dark bold numbers? Yeah, I see the blue one, the blue stuff definitely, but also just the dark highlighted, like the bold words too, because it's like knowing the difference between the different types of sampling and knowing the difference between the different types of data, right? We went over qualitative and quantitative data and knowing their differences. Yeah, definitely the different kinds of sampling, the different kinds of qualitative and quantitative variables and how they differ. Discrete and continuous variables, which your book goes over. It's in the quantitative section, but know the difference between a discrete variable and a quantitative. I know we went, or discrete and continuous. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I know we went over it in class as well. And then the ordinal and nominal. This is on page 14. Biasness. I mean, I think your book goes over like 5 or 6 types of biasness. And I really want you to understand that that's not just a stat thing. I want you to understand that for like a life thing. Like everybody has biasness, and we're all gonna magnetize towards our bias, and it's just part of the issue with social media. And it's just the fact that, and I mean, I find myself doing it all the time, right? If I see a report that I know kind of feeds into my bias on a certain topic, I'll definitely read it. Where if I see a report that doesn't feed into my biasness, I might just gloss over and say it's fake news. Okay, so these are kind of bigger issues we have with society that pop up, and they're really defined within the statistics curriculum. Okay. Hold on, let me see what else in chapter 1. I didn't go over 1.3. Yeah, there's nothing about designing experiments. I'm not worried about that. And then 1.4 was bias. Yeah, and then we got to chapter 2. So chapter 2, which this was the tough one when it came to graphs. Understand the different types of graph. Like, understand the difference between a histogram and a bar graph, right? When you would use a histogram, when you would use a bar graph, right? And chapter 2 goes over that in the first 2 sections. And then it goes over, the basics, the Then I think mean, median, mode was in this. Was it in this section? This chapter. Yeah. Mean, median, mode, I believe popped up in chapter 2. Maybe it didn't. Maybe that was the chapter 3 concept. Hold on. I know 2.4 went over misleading graphs, and I really just couldn't find a way to put that in here, which was a bummer because I like that section. But you won't see anything on misleading graphs, I believe, on the test. No, that wasn't the next one. So from chapter 2, it was kind of hard to put in the test. So I would know the difference between a bar graph and histogram. I would understand skewing, which it's chapter 2 and chapter 3 really go over, left skew and right skew. Those are things that pop up on this test. Yeah. And then we really get into chapter 3. So I'm going to tell you, a big chunk of the test is really more chapter 3 because we're going to use chapter 3 more throughout this class. So the mean, median, mode aspect is in chapter 3. Knowing how to put a list into the TI calculator. And then from that list, I'm going to tell you what you need to know how to get from that list. You're going to need to know how to get the variance from that list. You're going to need to know how to get, the coefficient of variation. Now that's not on that output, but it's found from 2 parts in the output, okay? Know how to find the mean. How to find the 5-number summary, which we went over yesterday to make a box plot. We do need to go over something. I haven't gone over the box plot. I knew that I hadn't finished lecturing. Okay, I've got to finish some lecturing real fast here at the very end. But we'll go over interquartile range and outliers for the box plot here in a minute. I thought that I was missing something. Know how to find a z-score. I didn't ask the backwards of that, Lori. Question you asked me. I didn't say give you the z-score and tell me the height or whatever. I just asked you to find the z-score.
Okay.
Yeah. Use the empirical rule. We talked about that. The whole, percent between 2 standard deviations, percent between 1 standard deviation. Definitely use the empirical rule. I did not bring up Chebyshev because Chebyshev doesn't come into play ever again. I feel like Chebyshev is just a goofy trivia question in statistics. So don't worry about Chebyshev. I just feel like I have to go over and lecture, but it's not going to pop up.
Confirm, it's 68% in 1 standard deviation, 95% in 2, and almost all in 3, right?
Yeah, don't worry about the 3 because it's not a numerical value. But yeah, so for this test, you need to worry about 1 and 2, Nathan.
And that's an approximation, right?
It is very approximate. Yeah, and I make sure I use the word roughly, but yeah, it's approximate. It is not perfect. And actually, nothing in statistics is perfect.
So it's not going to be very painstaking, those questions.
No. Okay. If you know how to do it, it's not.
Well, right. It's not going to be super precise and exact, 6 decimals and.
No. And those are going to be multiple choice questions. So you don't have to worry about rounding to certain decimal places.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything that's not multiple choice is short answer. So it's more about me knowing that you understand a concept, not if you know how to round to the right decimal place.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah, those questions I made multiple choice, so I wouldn't have to come into that issue.
Okay.
Yeah, know how to find. Okay, understand the difference in that TI calculator, and just in general, the population standard deviation and a sample standard deviation. Right. Remember, population we use the sigma, and then sample we use S. Right. That popped up in the lecture 2 that we went over that. Okay, that's pretty much it. Let me go over this last part, and then I knew I forgot something. Okay, I'm glad I looked at this test. Okay, you can tell I got the list. All questions on 1 page. There you go, Lori. Okay, so we've got to talk about outliers. because that was what I couldn't get to at the end of last lecture. So there's really, okay, outliers are that gray area, and it's kind of what Nathan talked about with the estimate. Eventually someone said, hey, we just need to find a boundary for outliers. And before we can find that boundary, we have to talk about the interquartile range, okay? Interquartile range, okay? The interquartile range, which we use IQR as a shortened abbreviation for that, is Q3 minus Q1, okay? Q3 minus Q1, that's your interquartile range. So let's look at an example, and I'm going to steal one from the book. This is on page 139. It's constructing the 5-number summary example 3.28. Okay, it's on page 139. We look at this data and we find that our min is 41, our Q1 is 45. I think we did the box plot for this one at the end of the last class. Q2 was 51, Q3 was 59, and our max is 100, okay? And it talked about like rain or something like that. No, it was number of kids that had missed school each day in January. So the minimum number of kids that missed school was 41, the max was 100, the first quartile was 45. So that means 25% missed less than 45 days. And then Q2 is 51. So that means half missed below 51 days and half missed above. And then Q3 is 59. So only 25% missed above 59 days, right? Okay, so the interquartile range is just going to be Q3 minus Q1. So it's going to be 59 minus 45 for us, right? So that's going to be what, 14? That just tells us the number of units that encompasses the middle 50%, right? I mean, we know 50% of our data lies between Q1 and Q3, right? These are the 25%, right? 25%, 50%, 75%. So the middle 50% of our data lies across 14 units. Now, if I want to find outliers, I don't know who developed this, and I'm sure it was just somebody that was just sick of not having a rule, and they wanted to make a rule for outliers. So there's an upper boundary. Now this is on page, hold on.
140.
I know your book goes over upper and lower boundaries. Hold on, let me see this. I remember seeing it. Oh yeah, it's on page 141 in the middle of the page in the purple. Let's go over, I guess we'll do lower first then. Lower outlier boundary. And this is what's going to be on the test, the lower and the upper, and you have to decide if there's an outlier or not. So the lower upper liar boundary would be Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR, okay? So for this example, it's going to be 45 minus 1.5 times 14. Now I'm just going to bust the calculator out. And I'm going to say, hold on. 45 minus 1.5 times 14, 24. So this is a boundary. Now, if you've got the book open, I want you to look at it real fast because, well, actually, we don't have to look at it. We know the minimum is 41, right? Right here. Well, if we had a day that there were less than 24 kids attending, it would be considered an outlier, okay? We don't have that with this example because I know the minimum day was 41. So there's no days that were under 24, so there's no outliers for the lower boundary. Let's do the upper boundary now. Okay, it's going to be Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR, okay? So now we're going to use Q3 instead of Q1 because Q1 is the bottom 25%. For the upper, we're going to use Q3 and we're going to add. So we'd have 59 plus 1.5 times 14. So 59 plus 1.5 times 14. So we get 80. Okay, 80 is our upper boundary. So I'm going to look over here and I'm going to decide what. Hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, yeah. I'm going to look over here and decide what if I have any outliers. So if I look at this data, I know this 100 is going to be an outlier, okay? But I'm going to look through the data and see if I have any days that are greater than 80. And it looks like the only day is that 100. If you look on the top of page 140, they arrange the numbers in increasing order. And it goes from 100 to 77 to 71 and so forth down. So we have an outlier at 100 days, which if you go back to the page before was January 28th, okay? January 28th is considered an outlier. Any questions about this? I'm going to talk more about outliers and what we should do or not do with them. But are there any questions about this? So you're really just making a boundary on your graph or on a boundary number that says, look, if we had, for this data, if we had any number less than 24, it would be considered an outlier. And any number above 80, it would be an outlier. Okay, now the main question that typically happens is, well, what should we do with the outliers, right? And it depends on why we have them. For this example, you would keep the outlier, right? On that day, 100 kids were sick. It happened. You would keep it in the data. It's probably going to skew your data, right? This data, I think we even kind of talked about it. It's probably going to be skewed this way because of the outlier. The outlier is out here somewhere, right? And it pushes the mean and the median separate. But if you had an outlier that doesn't make any sense, like if I was inputting grades for a test and I had, like 45, 80, 90, 70, 76, and then negative 30, 20, 100, right? We might find that negative 30 is an outlier. And for this example, for context, what happened was I probably messed up and put a negative sign there, right? So I need to go back and see like, oh, did I mess up in just inputting? What was the actual score? If I can't find the actual score, I just need to get rid of that data point, okay? Because that's not a test score. Negative 30 is not a test score. I feel like I've seen students attempt to make negative 30s on tests and fail, but there's no way you could get a negative 30 percentile score on a test, right? So that's kind of two different things. Like if it's part of the data and it's a true, data point, you need to keep it, right? If it's not and it's an input error, just get rid of it. That's kind of the basic rules for outliers. Okay. Oh, now let's go back to this. So yesterday we talked about plotting these. So, okay, I'm going to come back to this question. We've got the 5-number summary here, right? But if I wanted to make a box plot of this data, I'm going to start at 40 again, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Because 100 is considered an outlier, it's not going to be attached to our box and whiskers. We're going to put an asterisk there, okay? It gets an outlier. It gets shunned in a way as an outlier. And then we're going to use the next smallest number that is not an outlier, which I believe was 77. If you go back, 77, yeah. Which is about here. That's going to be our new max in a way because it's actually within our boundaries. And then the lower max was 41. The minimum was 41. And we had 51, 59, oh, and 45, right? I forgot 45. So this is what the correct box plot for that data looks like. This is for, they might have done it actually. Yeah, it's on page, actually on page 142 and 143. The book goes over this using the same data. And so the correct box plot would look like this. Now look, on the test, I'm not going to make you interpret box plots because I didn't know how to put one in there. So this is just, it's more going to be like, hey, what's the lower outlier boundary? Or what's the upper outlier boundary? It'll be something like that. Okay. Are there any questions about this? That's the last part. So the last part, I'm going to ask you about the upper or lower outlier boundaries, and I'm going to ask you about IQR, finding interquartile range. It's just Q3 minus Q1, super easy question. Okay, but I hadn't gone over it before, so it wouldn't be that easy if you got to it on the test.